Hi, good evening, everyone. For those of very few who are present over here, and some external noise. Okay, so I got a very interesting topic to talk about, and first time in my life I'm a moderator, so please excuse me if I make mistakes, because usually there's nothing moderate in my life, but I'll try something new. We're going to talk about impact of online marketing in the offline world. We've got a very eminent panel over here. So what we'll do is we'll quickly get everyone to introduce, and maybe I can start bringing up my points after we're done with a very quick round of introduction. Starting from me, I manage marketing for Nykaa. We are omnichannel. We are there as e-commerce store, and we also have multi-retail outlets in various cities. Over to you, Anisha.
Hi, everyone. Is this on?
Yeah, just turn it on.
Hi, Anisha Singh. I run a company called MyDala out of Delhi. We're in about 200 cities. We're a marketing platform for local businesses, and basically it's done in the form of coupons.
Hi, I'm Pawan, part of Future Group. So I kind of do a lot of stuff on the digital space, both e-commerce as well as marketing.
Hello, I am Arun. I work for Fab India. I head the e-commerce and digital piece for them.
Hey guys, my name is Sushant. I head marketing for Xiaomi in India.
Thank you so much. I think probably more than $500 million sitting on these chairs, and I wish there were more people to hear us. So obviously my first question is that, the topic is about the impact of online marketing in the offline sales. So what I'll do is I'll do a quick round robin to ask each one of you that what do you define as your KPI for impact when you're trying to measure the coherence between offline and online, starting with you, Anisha. Okay. Sure, we'll start with Sushant.
All right. Impact of digital marketing on offline sales. Actually, I'll take 60 seconds in doing this. I'll build this up towards finally the rationale that I want to present. If I were to drop digital for a minute from that statement, impact of marketing on offline sales, right? Doesn't that fundamentally define marketing for a typical brick and mortar business before the age of the internet? And therefore, the question that I then rephrase this into is, has digital channels to marketing changed the nature of how we measure marketing driving demand, right? And my take on it, bottom line is, whether it is digital, whether it is offline, ATL, mass media, it is fundamentally about measuring and evaluating the impact of marketing to generate demand and footfalls and sales into stores. And therefore, I would use the same yardsticks that I would for any marketing activities that we perform. Right? Whether it is in brand metrics, whether it is in salience, whether it is in active consideration. To me, digital is perhaps the more scalable and the more mass platform for a lot of businesses, but its impact truly remains at the same as it was before. I don't think there's any fundamental shift.
Well, more or less, I think Sushant covered it. Marketing is marketing, whether it's digital, whether it is offline. Measurement will always be there. It is just the amount of data what digital gives you. Yes, obviously, in Fab India, we do measure, we do pressure tests on location basis. We do activities which is very, very localized. And then obviously, yes, do measure, and that is surely an impact. While the impact can be measured more linearly or more closely in terms of a digital marketing effort to a hoarding which you may put up, in the offline markets. That's what I'm interested in.
I have just a couple of points. I don't understand what do you mean by offline? Like, it's physical. Online cannot define what a physical should be, right?
No, my question is offline sales.
No, I know. I mean, I don't understand the word offline.
Okay.
Like, online cannot define the 90% of the business which happens across the globe. That's physical. So, with that note, a couple of things. One is, I think one very important aspect for me as a marketer, because I don't want to put it like ATL, BTL, digital, or any such thing. Yeah, we are in the world of digital. So therefore, the marketing has to happen in the world of digital, right? I think that's just the lens to change. And what's important KPI for us is footfalls and business, nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk in context of what we do at Maidala for merchants. For the longest time, we were like the ugly stepchild that nobody wanted to talk about, because what we do is we essentially drive footfalls via coupons. So we're like a local ad network for service merchants across India. And so the KPIs are fairly obvious, because essentially it is sale conversion. It's all, it's coupon, you essentially performance. It's on a paper performance basis. You have people walking in through the door. So anything that's a sales conversion is automatically tracked at Maidala. We've tried to go a step further for merchants, and we've actually told them that they need to look at it differently. It's not just that, and we've given them a platform that lets them even look at the lifetime value on a customer. So we're trying to extend that forward and see what all can the merchant understand. And I'm talking about local service merchants. They could be anybody from a big brand, which has multi-outlets across India, to a small store. But what they can understand. So it's literally foot in the door plus the lifetime value on a customer.
Great. I'll be really keen to understand, how do you integrate the data across the business that you get on your e-store and the business that you get on the retail store? How do you actually define one customer view, or do you treat them separately? So I'll be really keen to understand for the forum present here.
Who is that pointed
You can
to?
start with that again.
Well, for us, we are literally pushing people on. I think this is more relevant to Fab India or the Future Group, because yeah, I did get that right. Because for us, it's literally, there is no offline experience. It's online, but it goes to the merchants that are all offline, or as you'd like to put it, physical stores. So
I think that's an interesting point, but I think all of us are grappling. We don't have a fixed answer, but we all want to know. I think, therefore, I don't think there's an online customer or a physical customer. I think there's one customer. I think it's their need, and today I think the avenues are a lot. So maybe in the morning I could just go to Amazon and buy something, go to Big Bazaar in the evening with my wife, or come back and buy something from Myntra. The point is, yes, I think it's important for us as marketeers to understand me as a customer. So I think we don't have a fixed answer to it, but yeah, I mean, that's something which we're all grappling to understand.
Great.
Well, for us, we have done some interesting stuff in the past, and we actually are working towards setting up that single view of customer, be it be the online space or be it be the offline space. Today, if you look at most of the brands in the country, for them, the online sales largely comes from the marketplaces like a Jabong or a Myntra, but it's exactly the other way around for us, for Fab India, wherein 90% of our online business comes in from our own portal. And the CRM that we use in the stores and the system that we use for our online shopping cart, both are completely integrated, and we kind of have a singular behavior which we come out with. Yes, but this is all transactional data. So as far as the single view of transactional data is concerned, we have that with us right now. But if you talk about absolute shopping behavior in terms of when a customer visits in the store or when a customer visits the website, seeing a particular ad and then connect those dots across, that is not there right now. And that's, I think, is the most pertinent problem which I think everybody is trying to resolve. We are working towards it. We are again looking at certain tech pieces which may help us put these pieces together. It may be successful, it may not be successful, but we are just experimenting right now.
So let me take a slightly different view of this, right? Xiaomi is fundamentally, not just in India, but in most markets, is a brand whose products have been predominantly available online, right? And the narrative has been the same in India. Most of our phones and a lot of the other devices were predominantly online, and it's only a couple of months ago that we actually said we'll open our first physical store in India, right? No, it's a fair point, actually. And we are a company that's built on thinking online distribution, online conversations, online marketing, online customer resolution as well. And we said we're going to set up a physical store. This is a beast that, as an organization, we hadn't had to grapple with, right? Now let's cut to the two parts to converting online conversations or online marketing into offline footfalls. There are two parts. The one is, I think, like the rest of them mentioned, there are capabilities that are being built and technology stacks that are being built to be able to unify the identities of the same person in both these sort of spaces, right? Whether it is UIDs, there are a bunch of spaces, attempts being made. There is also a technology stack that is being built, whether it is beacons, whether it is bluecasting, the whole works. But that is just one part of being able to identify and answer the question, are we able to move the customer from a message that we have showcased to him or her online to a footfall into the store? Cutting back to the example of the Mi Home that we were launching, we actually did a couple of things. The first was actually focusing on our community of our fans, right? We have a very, very large community of more than 5 million fans in India. And just by being able to get them to know about, excited about, and transmit the message of Xiaomi is about to open its first Mi Home in India was the first part of our agenda, which was non-measurable. There is no way I can correlate what I did online to how many footfalls actually happen. The second part was actually tactics, right? These are tactics in the form of pre-orders. We allowed people to pre-order their devices on me.com, which is our own e-commerce storefront, that they could pick up at Mi Home, right? So you can create, whether it is, coupons are one way of, for example, creating those linkages, pre-orders, special offers that you will get if you are a loyal member. And what do you need to do to become a loyal member? You need to transact more with us so that we get sort of more access to information. But the point is that there are two parts to this, right? To me, the first part which I made earlier, which is online marketing is marketing, right? And it has an objective of being able to generate sort of brand love and conversations and ultimately drive the action that you want it to, even though it's not measurable immediately. The second is there are tactics that, from a technology perspective or from a business perspective that you can deploy to more achieve a higher correlation of ROI, but that's, to be told, is not perfect, nowhere near perfect.
So coming back to this question, right? So one is the element of footfall, that you're trying to measure that you're doing some campaigns and what is the footfall. Now, my bigger worry is that the attribution is a big pain, because there are a lot of companies who offer you closed versus exposed group study in terms of you shut off all the other campaigns and run a couple of online campaigns and see how the footfall has been impacted. My belief is that there's a very big element of the brand power and the word of mouth which completely gets negated in this kind of study. So do you as a panel agree with maybe an isolated brand-led study to kind of understand the impact of a particular online channel into the footfalls?
Can I take this? So I think one of the things which I keep hearing in all the forums and everywhere is that what's the impact? What's the impact? So I'll tell you what we do is, how we make digital as the core focus of the organization. I think it's also about taking some challenges and trying to address it. So we have a big sale which is going on from Saturday at Big Bazaar, which is Mahabachat, for 5 days. So what do you do on digital? So you create your own sort of objective for digital and say, what can you do? So you say, can I make customers shop a day in advance and only drive it through digital, not through any other medium. The moment you do that, the responsibility lies on us in terms of getting the customers in store, and therefore you become a part of the larger target as well, right? So the moment you do some of these things, and if the customer is coming, then you know whom to attribute. And therefore, the moment you do that, and you are able to achieve the kind of number which, between the organization and you have agreed, I think that's the best impact what you can create for the medium. So I think these are the kind of things which we do. So this is just one example. And therefore, digital becomes a focus point of your marketing initiatives.
So you're talking about solution to have like exclusive promos which are only driven digitally?
Maybe. The reason I'm saying this because, this is a conversation just not here. It's with our CEOs, with our management all the time. Like how is digital adding? So this is something which we figured as a solution to go back and say, okay, let's look at it this way. Let's create a day for digital. Let's create a moment for digital. Let's create a product for digital and only drive it through this medium. And let's see what happens. So I'm just saying this is one way of kind of our solution of, having that sort of negotiation with the management. But the point is, I think digital also, when you are marketing in this world, you also need to be slightly tougher. I mean, you also need to take some challenges. That's the point which I'm making.
I have a small point to make.
Sure.
We did some tests in a very localized area, like we chose Bandra and Turner Road in Bombay, and we did absolute digital bombardment for like 3 weeks. And in retail, it's all about like-to-like growth, the same store growth, and that's what people talk about in retail. And we could easily see that we had about 15% growth on like-to-like stores when we did this digital bombardment in this particular region, and we had taken the effect for about 30 days. So that's the kind of impact which we could see in terms of walk-ins. This did not mean that we had a 15% incremental sale for that period, but the number of walk-ins surely went up. And that is the kind of impact. So today, if you are able to drive walk-ins, I'm sure we will be also able to drive sales going forward. It is just, what kind of a tactical approach you take for the kind of campaigns you run.
Sushant, do you have any point to add in this in terms of studying the impact? How would you really look at it?
So we have a unique opportunity, and I was thinking of that point, which is, and I would love to hear what everybody else has to say, perhaps. So we have me.com, which is our own e-commerce storefront. I was thinking of what we went through as a journey for Me Home, right? Which was a physical outlet. We had to get a lot of people walk in. I think, looking back, I think what really helped us concentrate a lot of our firepower that we are putting down on digital marketing was being able to drive the call to action for digital marketing initiatives then and there to a place which exists in the internet. Right? So think of 2 examples, right? We want to let everybody in Bangalore know that we are opening the first Me Home, but it's a passive message. It's not something that you can react to right now because I don't have an e-commerce storefront, right? Or some place, a community, a platform, right? Cut to the other situation, which is, fortunately where we are, which is we essentially put the message out and we actually had the opportunity for people to react to it right then and there. Right? In a way that actually locked in, and I'm using the phrase locked in very carefully, locked in their interest. So think of the journey where we essentially put out a GDN or a display campaign or an impact campaign which said, hey, India's first Me Home is launching, pre-order your phone right now, clicks through, gets to me.com, pre-orders it, where we are saying, oh, by the way, if you pre-order it right now, we're going to give you a coupon for 500 rupees. Locks it in. This is happening 2 weeks before the store is even opening. So we're able to predict how many people are going to walk in. We are able to translate the ROI of any digital spends and digital initiatives into an action point that is then and there. See, one of the challenges is digital marketing without that platform in the middle, and I would love to hear how some of you guys deal with it, tends to be something that I as a user can't act upon right away. Right? And therefore, even if, forget the measurement part of it, I just can't act on it. Right? So how do I make any sense of the ROI around it?
I think personally, speaking, one of the challenges is that at least it's easier in the e-commerce world where there is some information about the customer you have, even with a visit, and it's really difficult. The conversions kind of remain same in the industry, whether be it the retail or be it online, maybe a percentage point difference. Now that's where my other line of thought is that you come to my online store, there are ways how I can get back to you even if a purchase doesn't happen, right? You're spending the same amount of money or efforts to get people to your retail store, and you see people, some of them turn into buyers. You're capturing a lot of information around them. You can put them in a loyalty program. How do we deal with people who don't shop, right? So there are people, say 100 people come and 60 or 70 shop, that's great, but there's still those 30, 40 people on who we've spent effort to get them onto the store, right? So how do we kind of, again, reach out to these people? What is a mechanism that you think can really work out in today's scenario?
So typically what we do is that we divide kind of our customers into high value, low frequency, low value, high frequency, low value, high basket case, and all those things is what we divide into. And typically, whoever don't transact for 6 months, Fab India as a business does not believe in couponing or discounting for sure. So we do not do that any which ways. So largely, we target them on social because we have their mobile numbers with us. At the same time, we do send SMSs, which is primarily calling out a particular range and an occasion and then call the customers to this particular.
But these are the people who have passed information. What about the people who just browse in the store and just leave?
Obviously, you have no information about them. There's no action that you can take on those people.
Yeah.
Right. Just an observation. I was at Hamleys a couple of weeks ago. I don't have kids, so don't ask me what I was doing in Hamleys. I like soft toys. No, I do. I really do. When he was talking, it just occurred to me. I was in Hamleys a couple of weeks ago. Had half an article, went and bought a bouncing ball and maybe a soft toy. And as I was buying it, there's a very, very conscious attempt made by 3 people in the store. Somebody at the cash counter, somebody who was helping me find the goods, and a guy just as I was exiting the store, trying to get me to sign up to a Hamleys program, right? Whatever they call it, it's a loyalty program and whatever benefits program. Now, fundamentally what is being attempted, and I think that's the effort, right, to your point, of people who walk into a store, I've spent a lot of money in acquiring this footfalls, doesn't convert. Let's think of what retargeting can mean in a physical space. Right? That's fundamentally a retargeting exercise. I mean, I was being retargeted for my second and my third purchase. All of these sound very, very simplistic, to be honest. But I think in ability to marry this with technology stacks that are being built, there is all the science exists. It's just a question of being able to start from ground one and say, let's retarget people who are walking out of my store without having made a purchase. Can I just start having a one-on-one conversation? I'll tell you the next time there is loyalty programs are a retargeting program fundamentally.
Obviously, I breathe this, so I'll say this offers actually do make a difference to get you to do the final point of purchase. However, that being said, I think there's too much emphasis that gets put on whether are we doing digital, are we doing this, are we doing that, a lot along the wayside. And, we talked about this at Wired last year, was the main thing is customer satisfaction, making sure the customer stays or the customer purchases. And if they're purchasing 100, they should purchase 200. And I think the cool part is we're able to do that. The first thing is customer service. India mein to wohi level, if we thoda theek karo, it'll be better. Just look at it. It's mind-boggling. Ann Taylor in the US changed their sizing once they realized that women are more likely to buy if instead of a size 4, if you made a size 4 a size 2, okay? Women would buy it, even if they didn't intend on buying it. Beautiful. This was a study done on it. India, you'll walk into a store, you could be a medium, they will convince you you're an XL. There is no way you're going to walk out buying it. So great customer service, just like you said, it goes a long way. We keep talking about digital, non-digital. That's like the basic foundation. And in India, at that particular point of time, that return policy, different things, that needs to change first and foremost. Then with analytics added on, I think we're pretty set. And if we add offers to it, Arun, then you're pretty solidly set on it. So I think those are the things that really need to change, at least when we look at it. The pressure as a brand is, are we going to do digital? Are we going to do this? But the most basic foundation has to be set first and ensure that we're doing those. What's the use of doing all the miscellaneous stuff if you don't have your foundation intact?
So I just want to add to this. I think while we can speak about offers and many things, but the fundamental of it is the customer has come here to buy a product. The product needs to be good. The experience needs to be good. I think these are the fundamentals. So if somebody is not coming to buy, I don't know what's the remarketing form in the physical world. I have no idea. But I think the fact that, the customers come to your store and if you're not able to sell him anything, that itself, I think it's a lost opportunity, right? And therefore, there are many ways all of us as marketeers we do. So we have a brand like Big Bazaar, which is constantly giving you offers and trying to convert you all the time. And you have a brand like Fab India, which I completely respect, which says that, I'm sorry, there's no discount at all. So we are sitting on the same level at this point in time, but we are all, ensuring that consumers are consuming. So I don't know, I have no idea if there's one answer to it.
So, that's a very valid point, and taking a cue from that point, I just want to spend a few minutes in terms of one of the study that Google did with TNS, where they were just trying to give some attribution to a lot of digital campaigns for the retail sales. So, as per their study, what they came out was that the impact on the organized retail, in terms of incremental impact, is 5.2%. Organized retail, where they have a common CRM systems. The impact on the general retail, where there is no common CRM systems, and they had to gauge it through, again, brand lift, was about 1.6%. But a very notable point in this was that all the physical retailers that offer a very strong online asset at the point of sale saw an increment of 17%, with classic cases like Walmart or Macy's. So in the end, if the question comes that I have $100,000 to invest, should I be investing it on rich ads or making my asset better at the point of sales where people can engage on the website or on the app? So what is the decision I should be taking at this point of time? Is it the ads or is it the asset that I have?
So a couple of things. I mean, I can give you a classic case. I mean, you can talk about Fab India. We've got stores which comes in various sizes. Large stores, 10,000 square feet. Small stores, 500 square feet maybe. And it is impossible to carry everything in the store. So the only way or the solution is to, when a customer is walking into the store, try and see whatever you can offer him. So A, if it is about the range, B, it is about the customer service, C, it is about operational deliveries, etc., or services which the customer would be delighted to have. So as a business, that's what we are looking at doing. Today, we have experimented this with like almost about 30 stores, that when a customer is walking out of the store without buying something because of a size issue, because of a range issue, we've set up tablets which can actually take orders and the items can get delivered to the customers' houses. So, and this itself has given us like almost an incremental business of a couple of lakhs in each and every store where we have experimented this with. This is one aspect of it. So it's about digitally whether you are able to offer a larger range and a larger service to the customer. I think that's where the effort should be, especially when you speak about physical retail, where a customer walks in, puts his time, effort, and money in coming into your store. Whatever happens otherwise in the digital world, it could be all interaction, it could be all shopping cart, it could be all about conversions. But finally, when it comes to about customers walking into the store, it's about what is the service that you'll be offering there.
Great. Any other point of view on this?
You talked about where should we invest $100? Should we put it on digital marketing or should we put it on bettering a platform or a product or an experience? We actually, in the last 6 months, went from having a very small number of service centers to having more than 500 service centers today. And each of that comes at a cost. Now, is there an argument to be made for me with my manager saying, hey, you know what, you're just cutting down my budgets and you're sort of rolling out service centers? That's a conversation that doesn't even exist. So I'm saying the balance between should the product keep getting better or should I acquire more users at the top of the funnel, that's a constant balance, right? And I don't think that's the meaningful, or there is no either or. I think the question that is being thought of right now is, hey, you know what, if I have $100 and I run a physical store, should I do digital marketing to get people into the store? I don't know, I can't measure it, I can't correlate, or I'll just put up, flyers, मेरे दुकान के आसपास कुछ लगा दूंगा मैं, right? I mean, breaking this down to brass tacks. And I think what it is boiling down to is, depending on the aspirations of the store, right? Depending on what that store and what that brand commands, right? We had 10,000 people walk into our store on the first day when we opened that Me Home that I was talking about. 10,000 people, right? We did close to zero in terms of traditional advertising. Now there is a value to the product that people wanted to buy, there is a value to the brand, and there's a value to the digital marketing. Can I correlate, for every dollar spent I had so many footfalls? I cannot, and I shouldn't as well. Because I think doing that will leave the opportunity on the table for a lot of techniques and a lot of sort of frameworks that don't pay off immediately, that don't look great on ROI terms immediately, but are extremely valuable in the long term, right? The point is, I think for every $100 digital marketing versus, I'm using the prop corollary of flyers around the store, it's a question of if you think you have all the customers around your store sort of milling around, just get them in, right? It's a classic mall versus the high street sort of argument, which I'm sure you guys can fill in better. But yeah.
Anisha, I mean, there is one reality we know, and the reality is that a lot of e-commerce companies in India have made the customers attune to sales and discounts. And I'm talking from my experience that during checkouts, the maximum exits that happen from Nykaa is for Nykaa coupon search on Google. If I get the search result and my towards my site back, it works for me. Otherwise, it will go to a affiliate site or coupon site and pick up a coupon code and gets to purchase. So that's the reality right now, and we accept and we live with it. My question is that if I want to get more redemptions from customers. And I just want more footfalls. At the same time, I want more business. What am I safer doing? What am I doing better? Should I be just looking at coupons that can be redeemed at my retail store, or should I have one coupon that is applicable on both the stores? But the caveat is I don't have a common system to identify that. So what works better? A coupon which is availed at the offline store or the retail store, or a coupon which is right there availed on the e-commerce store?
It depends on what your preferences are. Whether you're driving, Domino's at a certain point will shut off all coupons to its offline, all offline coupons. And they'll bring on only online coupons because that's the sales they're driving. So it completely depends on what you are at that particular point in time. You just launched a new store, you're trying to, promote that. Then yes, I get that you're trying to promote. Ideally, in a fair world, once you have a loyal customer, they should not be looking around for coupons. They should be happy regardless of whether they have coupons or not. Nykaa should be giving them great service. Amazon does not give me any coupons. I am just, Fab India gives me no coupons. I'm in there spending a lot of money. In an ideal world, you have to get it to that point. The coupon is only the first, foot in the door kind of thing. So regardless of whether you want to drive sales offline or online, I'll say it truthfully, it boils down to the service and you understanding the customer after that. I bought from Nykaa. Nykaa gets it. I buy MAC, cosmetics. I'm getting a little technical. You sell me that again and you understand me in terms of my data better. Great, you've got me for a lifetime. I should not be looking for stupid coupons across the board for some other site after that. So I think after some point, it should be investing more in terms of data analytics and understanding the user better. This is just a first foot in the door in terms of digital. The world behind that and understanding the customer is what needs to happen. So you can, what do you think?
Yeah, you're one of the rarest consumer habits where A, you're looking at premium segment which are never discounted, and B, you are more prone to loyalty and care. The reality of the mass segment bias.
I know that. I run the business on this.
Yeah.
You realize that, right? But there is a statistic out there, 82% of the people do go looking for coupons. So I agree with that. However, that being said, there is, in terms of loyalty, and you will see this happen as markets mature and as customer service turns good, brands will have to worry more about what it is, about the lifetime value on a customer. And it is going to be more about that. And what are we putting in terms of digitally or physically to ensure that the customer keeps coming back. And I'm saying this, and I run a business that is just based around promotions and offers. And I'll say this, the responsibility moves past that step once over, digitally too.
Yeah, I mean, lifetime value is really important, but in an ecosystem where you have the marketplace and you're a standalone vertical player, that's where the challenge comes in, because you could be a makeup buyer today, but tomorrow you might purchase iPhone 7, right? So your lifetime value in a marketplace is typically very, very differentiated, and that's the reason they can pay more to acquire you, and that's one of the challenges that we work with. But point taken that, we should
Mere
focus.
the basic logic hai yaar, it is business. If you're taking 700 rupees to acquire a customer and getting only 70 rupees from the guy, then to anyway this makes no sense.
So it depends what timeline you're looking at.
So e-commerce mein yehi to problem hui hai. We've all got to admit it. Everybody spent millions of dollars getting a customer that was just not going to, buckle up and pay the lifetime value on that, and you were going to only get 100 rupees from the customer. It's great business for me instantly, but it doesn't work out for you guys. So all I'm saying is physical coupons or online coupons. At one particular point in time, it's just where are you? Are you pushing? If offline is doing well for you guys right now, and you're pushing more towards it, great. Put more offline coupons there for now.
One quick question. What is the ideal customer behavior for you? Ideally, do you want the customers to move from online to offline, vice versa, or it doesn't matter as long as the sales come? I think it's a question for most of the people here.
Yeah, I think we also have to see.
Yeah.
Oh, time is up.
Sales should be sales, yeah.
Absolutely.
Sales should be sales.
So primarily, it doesn't really matter. I mean, customer is there everywhere. If the customer is into a mall and if he's walking into a store, obviously he's a store customer. The same customer obviously comes back and shops or looks at the range online. So it doesn't really matter till the time you're able to develop content, imagery, and meaningful products for customers wherein it is serviced properly. So if you're able to focus on basics, reaching out, conversions will come out wherever the customer wants it to be.
It's simple, no? It's business is business. Margins, stickiness of customer, how can you upsell? Simple things, whether you digital or offline, physical, it's all the same.
So the question I was coming from was the cost of upkeeps, right, with the retail versus online, where it's understood that it's very easy to maintain the online retail versus the physical retail in today's reality. I mean, rarely stores get profitable. I mean, future is the art of profitability in retail, maybe. Yeah. But most of the stores do not show profitability, right? And most of the e-stores show profitability. So my question was that, the cost it takes to maintain the entire system of online versus offline is remarkably different. So that's the reason I was asking for preferences.
Sorry, just to clarify, digital platforms can be marketing platforms or they can be transaction platforms, right? And they can be one of them or they can be both of them, right? Just the internet, as we loosely call it. So to your point of profitability and the cost of running a store, I mean, our steps are very early in this place compared to some of the others that are sitting on the table. Beyond a point in time, there is a larger reality to, if I'm going to bet my eggs on saying, digital platforms are going to be my consummation platforms, does the market actually exist at the scale that I want it to exist right now, whichever category that I'm in? Right? Because at the end of the day, retail across categories, offline, physical retail, still is the major share of transactions, right? So I can say I'll set up an entire digital ecosystem of marketing messages, consummation, loyalty, and all of that, which is something that we do sort of day in and day out. But you start hitting a point in time where you say, what? I'm the second largest smartphone brand in the country now. I want to become the #1 smartphone brand, and therefore I'm going to try and get more people to sign up. People who might not be necessarily people who are comfortable consummating transactions online. My point is that without getting into connotations on profitability of running a physical store, etc., at some point of time you realize that the market is just so saturated, right? So you will need to start stepping out.
Well, to add to what Hitesh was saying, primarily if you look at the developed markets, I mean, let's take the US. Even today, just about 20% of US retail is the online retail. But the amount of influence digital medium brings in while somebody makes a purchasing decision is far, far more higher. So today, if you look at currently in a country like India, if you talk about electronics, 80% of purchases will be digitally influenced because of the amount of research goes behind it. While if you talk about fashion and lifestyle, it will be about 25 to 30%. So looking at the medium and the kind of product that you are selling, it depends on what kind of medium you choose to market. So it's all going to be about content. It's all going to be about what kind of audience you want to reach. While the split in terms of actual transaction may always be hazy. It could be 5%, 10%. I mean, 2 years back, we were just 1% of the online market for Fab India's entire business. Today, we are 5%. So, and this percentage will grow. But largely what will grow is the digital influence when someone tries to buy something. That's the way. And whenever I go to the store, whenever I ask the store guys, the number of instances when customer walk into the store, showing the mobile phone and says, I want to buy this, has gone up tremendously. And that's the digital influence all about.
Okay, with that, I'd like to thank each one of you. Thank you so much for your insightful thoughts.